Hello and welcome to Werner's R&B Quiz Show Challenge Spectacular Special Vinyl Edition. Yeah, this time no more kiss singles. We're moving out to straight, pure, classic hip-hop, or should I say R&B and slightly related other genres, with featured hip-hop artists, vinyl records, classic 12-inch stuff. So here we go. Contest rules in case you missed my past single stuff. Basically, I'm going to show you some stuff, some records from mostly the 90s, but some 80s, some 2000 stuff by non-hip-hop acts, mostly R&B. There might be a reggae in there, there might be a rock guy in there or something, but basically R&B records that feature one or even more guest rapper. And I'm not going to tell you who it is. I'm going to cover it up, I'm going to hide it, and we're going to see if you know how plugged you are into the hip-hop scene, if you can figure out which guest rapper it is just based on the artist, the title, and what other ancillary information I throw out there as well. So you ready for the challenge? There's a total of 17 points for this one. Let's look at the first record. Regular viewers are going to start off with an advantage because I've actually already done a video about this record. So here we go. Solo R&B group from the 90s, Perspective Records. One of their hit songs, Heaven, they released multiple singles of it, multiple versions. This specifically here, the hip-hop joint Heaven remix, features 4 guest rappers. And these rappers actually appear on multiple versions of the Heaven remix. So basically, if you know the rappers from any Heaven remix, you know the multiple rappers from this Heaven remix. 4 guys. I'm going to give you the answer so you can obviously play along and check your score at the end, but not just yet. You ready? Figure it out. Do you know it? Do you know the 4 guys? Quick hint before I totally reveal it. They're all their label mates. So just think of the hip-hop roster on Perspective Records. A lot of dope unreleased guys. Arrogant, the almighty Arrogant. Young Z, of course, Outsiders. Pudgy, and Mr. Black. So how did you do? Did you guys get that one? I mean, hopefully, because again, you guys had a real advantage if you're regular viewers of my show, although admittedly, I didn't blog about it that recently. But still, no more freebies like that. From now on, I don't think I've blogged about any of these before, so you're just going to have to be up on your stuff. So that was your introductory one with 4 possible points, which was a big one. So now here we go with the next one. Still with Solo. Still Perspective Records. Where do you want me to put it? By the way, quick aside, one of the B-sides is actually a Heaven remix, which features those 4 guys from the last question. But this is a new one. You can't guess those 4 guys again. Now we're talking about the other song, specifically the hip-hop Gutta remix. That's the only one with this particular artist on here. Solo on Perspective Records again. Okay, another hint, this time not label mates. This time it's a group. It's a group. It's not one guy. You ready? Lost Boys. All right. Soul for Real, one of those younger hip-hop groups that was kind of big in the 90s, BET regulars. This is not the 90s though, actually this is 2000, and this is not one of their bigger known hits. You might not get this one right off the top of your head. It's Summertime. This one's a little trickier. You might know a couple Soul for Real guest spots, but you still, good chance you won't know this one. Okay, you ready for your hint? He's a widely known, I don't want to be too disparaging when I say this, but he's widely known as a sidekick to a bigger rapper. Ready? Write down your answers. Big Scoob, as in Scoob Lover, as in Big Daddy Kane's former dancer and sidekick on basically all of his albums, at least one song, Scoob and Scrap. Then he went solo on Fully Blown Records, and here it is with Soul for Real, Summertime. Moving out of classical R&B into some reggae. Actually, I honestly couldn't quite remember if I had done this one in the cut singles, one of those entries. I definitely did Shabba Ranks before, and here we go, Shabba Ranks again. This single is The Jam. Honestly, you might be able to get a little bonus for yourself if you remember the past videos, because I might have done this one as like a single. I couldn't remember. I definitely did a Shabba Ranks. So this one, though, is probably his biggest, his best known rap collaboration. That's really the whole hint. That's all you should really need, because he did some other ones. He did one with Chub Rock. That's not it. That's my hint. It's not Chub Rock. Okay, you ready for it? Blastmaster KRS-One. Ta-da. Remember Rough Ends? I don't really either. I own this, and I've had it for a long time, so I must have remembered it at one point, but I totally forgot this one. I was just kind of going through looking for some good choices, and I stumbled upon it. Gotta guess rapper. That's really the only reason I've got it. Cash, money, cars, clothes. Actually, I think now that I say the title, Cash, Money, Cars, Clothes, I think I do vaguely remember this song. But it's got a guess rapper. Someone you've heard of before. I'll give you a minute here. 2001 is the year. All right, for a hint, kind of down with the, well, I don't want to get too specific. Down with a larger crew with bigger acts than himself. You ready for it? On the label and on the sticker, Memphis Bleak. Time to go back a little further with this one. No more 2000s or even the late 90s. Here we are, straight, pure 80s. Right here, this is Paradise by the lovely Ruby Turner. Some real 80s R&B here, late 80s admittedly, 80s R&B. So remember, cast your mind back. This isn't going to be any Rockefeller and Nas, none of that 90s kinds of stuff. Ruby Turner, who could it be? Okay, here's your hint. You notice I didn't mention the label right away because the label is the hint. Jive Records. Now, just think of hip-hop acts that would have been on a Jive Records collaboration, and you're well on your way to possibly get us in this, even if you didn't already know it. And good chance you don't if your memory doesn't go that far back, because this is a little bit obscure, but it's definitely a classic R&B hip-hop collaboration. Okay, that's enough. You ready? Ruby Turner, Paradise, featuring ECSTASY of Houdini. That's right, the guy with the big hat, the big rim hat, ECSTASY, the colorful character from Houdini. Paradise, Ruby Turner. Fun record, by the way. Now we're back into the obscure, rugged, rough, but not that rough because it's a female R&B singer named Roz, the 90s, featuring a guest rapper on the very independent label called Wicked Wax. This is only one of 2 singles by this particular R&B singer. Roz, that's all she's billed as here. She's actually Roz Daisy. I think her other name, Davies, rather, D-A-V-I-E-S. I think her other record's actually under that full name, but just Roz here. Who is she featuring? I'll give you a hint. Okay, this is an artist who had already basically faded away, at least from the MCing scene. So who people had really sort of forgotten, who sort of thought, oh, he's not around anymore. I mean, not totally, not like some kind of crazy whatever happened to him, you know, on America's Most Wanted mystery kind of thing or anything, but just someone who really wasn't putting out records anymore by the time this came out. So someone who would have totally written off. And then here he is right here with Roz. The song is Ayo I, and then parenthetically, Hey Yo, all right. I like how they translate hip hop lingo for all you guys out there who wouldn't have any idea what Ayo I meant. That's it, now you get it? Pens down, pencils down. The answer, D Nice, as in Boogie Down Productions, Call Me D Nice, the one and only true hip-hop stories these days. Here he is right here with Roz. How about kind of a white label? Again, we're in the 90s or almost even early 2000s. The R&B singer is R. Kelly. And no, it's not what you're thinking. It's not Jay-Z. Okay, it's R. Kelly. Right away, that's not even your hint. I'm just telling you, not Jay-Z. The song is called Fiesta, kind of an obscure white label kind of thing. Would have gotten a little bit of play in New York radio maybe, but not so much. Definitely kind of underground, more obscure. But you know, how obscure can it be with R. Kelly on it? Well, we'll see if you'll get this one. You ready? Okay, I can give you a hint for this one. It's somebody who you've already had. He's a previous answer, so that's a huge hint. All right, so even if you don't know it, just cast your mind back and you know, multiple choice, you got a good chance of just randomly guessing it. Who would have done the song that we've already addressed, who's already come up, that would have done the song with R. Kelly? A song called Fiesta. The title should give you a little bit of a hint too, just sort of the nature of the song probably. Okay, that's it. Here we go. Your answer, Big Scoob. Once again, Big Daddy Kane's Big Scoob. Fiesta with R. Kelly. Back to the 80s with one of the big names. There he is, larger than life. Rick James himself. This one features two guest rappers. The song is called Lucy's Rap. You may have heard of it. This is interesting because it was released as a single, well, obviously, because this is it. But I mean, so it got airplay, it got some play and spread around, featuring one guest rapper. But then there's a more obscure additional remix on the B-side, which features that same rapper plus another one. So you're going to have to guess two, Down with Rick James. But on the other hand, this is a pretty famous one. So if you know your stuff, if you know these rappers, you might be way ahead of me and be like, shut up, stop talking, Werner, I know this one, I got it. Well, okay, if you know it, let's have it. But I'll give you a hint again. One of these rappers has not come up before, but an associate of him has. And they're both associates with each other. So if you guess one, you're really right on the road to guessing the other. All right, you ready? Here we go. Juice Crew, Roxanne Shante, and Big Daddy Kane, Lucy's Rap. A real classic one. Marley Marl remix. The version with Kane especially, definitely a must-have. All right, that was kind of easy. Maybe a few of these other ones were a little bit easy, especially if you know your stuff. All right, this one, you're not gonna get. You're just not gonna get. Don't be disappointed. Don't be frustrated with yourself. Try not to be frustrated with me. I'm telling you right up front, you're not gonna get it. If you do know it, God bless you. You really know your stuff and you should really be proud of yourself. Give yourself like a little plus. Like whatever your score is, add a little plus after it as a little extra bonus for guessing this one because you're not gonna get it. This is the one that basically ensures almost none of you guys are gonna get 100%. Okay, here we go. On Rowdy Records, which is the same label of like The King and I, Y'all So Stupid, and Monica. I don't know if that helps, but that's the label. 90s, early 90s, or actually no, late 90s. The artist is QT. I really know F all about him except for the fact that he did this particular record. It's called My Baby Mama, not to be confused with other songs of the same title by other artists. This is just QT's My Baby Mama. And now most of it does not feature rapper, but on the B-side here you got the Dallas Austin Fan Cakes mix. That's not particularly helpful, that's not a hint really. And that version features a guest rapper. That's the only one. The main version, no guest rapper. Just that one particular mix has a guest rapper. You're not gonna, I can't even come up with a hint. You're just not gonna get it unless you know this record. The rapper Divine, D-E-V-Y-N-E, Divine. I really don't know anything more about him than I know about QT. That's what I'm saying. Unless you know this record, you're not gonna get it. I don't think either of them have done much else besides this, so what do you want? You don't want an easy 100, do you? You want some challenge? You want some easy stuff? We mix it up. All right, one last one now. This is your final one. Get your score back up after you probably miss this one. Let's get yourself one more point, hopefully, or actually, possibly 3 more points. This last record is a possible 3-pointer. Late 90s, DreamWorks Records, which I think is related to Steven Spielberg's movie company and all that kind of jazz. So that sort of mainstream kind of stuff. You know, I think the Dr. Octagon was on it after it had been re-released after like 5 or 6 times. You know, first it was on Bulk Records, then it was on Mo Wax, and then as it got more and more mainstream and broader appeal, eventually came out on DreamWorks. And that's probably when you found it at like your local Nobody Beats the Wiz. But anyway, no connection to Kool Keith or Dr. Octagon or any of that stuff. Put that out of your head, except for, I guess, the label connection. This is something entirely different. This is a record by Queen. Now, I don't profess to know anything about rock or any of that kind of stuff. Even I know a little bit who Queen are. They have that big, you know, we are the champions. That's those guys. And they were like sort of glam rock and they wore weird makeup and stuff. That's okay. That's as far as I know about Queen. But anyway, you know, I think they had been sort of long out of the scene and they made a big comeback record. I mean, well, how big? Maybe that's an exaggeration, but a pretty big comeback record, big budget, big deal. And certainly in order to make that comeback, to make themselves hip and branded for the new, you know, for the 90s, the late 90s, they had to hook up with some rappers who were blowing up pretty big at the time to latch onto. And of course, the song itself is called Another One Bites the Dust. Yes, a remake of that famous dun, 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 which I almost know better for Weird Al making fun of. It's definitely just one of those real, you know, very iconic, old school, non-hip-hop or R&B related songs. They're remaking their own hit, and they had to get some rappers to remake it for this 12-inch single right here. They're, you know, hopefully big money maker, which maybe probably didn't pay off as much as everybody envisioned, but actually probably also on the same token made a lot more money than it ever should have. All right, so I'm going to give you two kind of mini hints on this one because neither one is all that revealing. So combined is sort of one real hint. So the first one, this is from the soundtrack to Small Soldiers. Remember that kind of kids movie where like little animated action figures or something are alive? I didn't actually see the movie, but it's pretty damn famous. And there's been sequels and everything. This is from the original Small Soldiers soundtrack. I guess that's probably part of the reason why it's on DreamWorks Records. And then the second sort of hint, and this one might be a little bit more helpful, is that again, it was rappers, sort of up and on the rise, not totally burgeoning, like this wasn't their first big thing or anything like that, but definitely they were rising stars. They were somebody who you would want to be latched onto at the time. And more important, more of the hint is that they're all kind of linked together. So I mean, if you guess one, you're going to guess them all, except one of them is probably harder to guess than the other two. But they're all at least in the same family and definitely all did records together before. All right, so that's it. I think that's as good as I can do with hints. So you ready? 2, 3, time's up. Praz, Cannabis, and the tough one, Free. All I really know about Free is that he did one or two other songs with Cannabis and Wyclef. I think he was on that single off of Cannabis's first album. Patriots was the name of that song. So that's it. Total up your scores. How did you do? Funnily enough, as I was kind of going back, pulling out these records for stuff to, do for the contest, I hadn't memorized them all myself. So actually my score was 12. Out of, again, a possible 17. That means I missed 5. I got 12. The other ones I was like, who the heck was the rapper on there? Oh yeah, okay, that guy. And obviously QT, I didn't even get that one either. I'm like, this record, I own it, so it must have a guest rapper on there. Otherwise, I probably would have passed it along. So the fact that it's still in my collection, there had to be somebody on there. I'm like, oh, divine, right? Somebody I never heard of. But anyway, so that's it. Latest vinyl edition of the quiz show. There will be more. If you are cagey, if you're paying attention, if you're perceptive, you probably noticed that all the records we covered were basically alphabetically from the mid S's to the late Q's. That's like little tiny span of the alphabet. And my records are all alphabetized. So we got plenty more records we can go through for more entries. Look forward to another one sometime soon. Obviously, part 3 was a long time ago, so don't expect it next week or something. But we will be back with more. Hope you had fun. Hope you got some points. Check you out next time. Thanks for tuning in to the super spectacular quiz show, challenge, extravaganza, special vinyl edition. Peace.